Hello, everyone. My name is Wendy Myers. Thank you so much. Welcome to the podcast. You can check me out at myersdetox.com, where I try to teach you all about heavy metal detoxification and how to detox toxic metals that cause fatigue. Today, we have my friend Maryam Henein on the show. She's going to be talking about CBD oil, a lot of the benefits of CBD oil and the health issues that it can help, all about our endocannabinoid system and some of the politics with Big Pharma and why they're trying to stamp out smaller producers of CBD oil and make their synthetic CBD and put it into a pill and patent it and make money off of it. And it's just amazing, a month's supply of CBD oil costs $100, whereas the drug Big Pharma is coming out with costs $1,000 to $2,000 a month and is not nearly as effective. So we're going to be talking about those politics and more today on the podcast. Please check out my 10 tips to detox like a pro checklist. You can go to detoxforenergy.com and download that free checklist. And it has all my tips and tricks that I use with my clients to help them to detox. And I work with thousands of clients all over the world. And I've kind of distilled the top 10 things that I recommend to my clients to help them to detox. Our guest today is Maryam Henein. She's been dubbed the Erin Brockovich of the bee world. She's an investigative journalist and activist, functional medicine coach, filmmaker, and entrepreneur. She directed the documentary Vanishing of the Bees, narrated by Ellen Page. And you can learn more about Maryam at simplytransformative.com, where she sells her CBD oil or hemp oil, and at honeycolony.com. Hi, Maryam. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Hey, Wendy. I'm happy to be here.
So we're going to be talking about CBD oil, and it's something that I take on an almost daily basis. It's really helped me a lot. Definitely helped me with sleep. I had a period where I was just really stressed and I wasn't sleeping well, and I started taking it, and it helped tremendously. And here in California, It's legal, and so I'm able to enjoy that. So why don't we talk a little bit first by telling the listeners a little about your background and some of the work that you do.
Absolutely. Thank you. So I'm an investigative journalist by trade, and I'm best known for directing the documentary film Vanishing of the Bees, which is narrated by Ellen Page. And I've since been studying functional medicine and serving as a coach and also an entrepreneur and the founder of Honey Colony, which is a health and wellness online magazine really aimed at empowering people to be their own best health advocate. And in 2017, we got into the CBD space and developed our own superior hemp oil.
Yeah, and so tell us first, for anyone that may not know, what exactly is CBD oil?
So CBD is a plant compound with no psychoactive properties that is found in the cannabis plant. And so you can find CBD with more THC, which is what we associate with cannabis, that is also cannabinoid. And you can also extract it from industrialized hemp. Now, technically, it's the same plant, but we breed it in a different way because of the archaic laws that we live with. And of course, there are some people who do not want to partake in any THC, and CBD has a host of health benefits. It really is this miraculous compound. And I could only say that after now spending 6 months on the phones with customers as a consequence of what happened to our company. Really, I'm taking it because I'm getting off OxyContin. I'm taking it because I have fibromyalgia. I have cancer. I have insomnia. I have anxiety. I had your product wasn't in. I went to find another one, didn't work. When is your medicine going to be in? And so I say that everyone and their mama is making CBD oil now. And there's a lot of crapola out there. I think people are sussing us out because of what we represent and because of the science and the love that actually went into doing research. Because if you're sick and you are wanting, for instance, to detox, it's good to note that cannabis is a bioaccumulator. So they used, maybe you know this, they used cannabis to clean the soil in Chernobyl. That's how powerful it is. And it draws everything up from the earth, toxins, heavy metals. So whether you're sick or whether you're not sick, you do not want to be partaking in that medicine. It's an oxymoron.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so tell us, what is the difference between the CBD and the THC that we find in, like when you smoke marijuana, you'll be getting CBD and THC, but more THC. So tell us the difference between that and why CBD is not psychoactive. It doesn't get you high.
Well, the cannabis plant, ideally, you want to achieve the entourage effect, which is basically the principle of whole plant synergy. You want the plant the way God, universe created it, not something fake, altered. So ideally, you want all those terpenes because they all have these different benefits and work in concert and synergize. However, if you are taking CBD from industrialized hemp, it legally has less than 0.3 THC in order to fit under the Farm Bill and to be legally purchased and across state lines. Now, when it comes to the politics of CBD, which is a whole story in itself, it really depends on whom you ask. So there are vendors would contest this is a perfectly legal product. If you ask the DEA, they would say otherwise. However, that opens up the whole politics and the greed and the synthetic single molecules that the pharmaceuticals are developing, and they see the natural products industry and people like myself and our company as a threat. So I find that companies that sell crappy CBD isolate versus full spectrum, which is again the principle of the whole plant synergy, that they have no problems selling on an Amazon, on PayPal. However, I can just state the facts that that's not been the case for us. And so if I can just recap a little of, here we are, if you look at it as a startup, an entrepreneur, you put in a lot of sacrifice. So we were in our fifth year of business, and we had grown as a company because we developed our own products and simply transformative solutions from $200,000 to $1 million in sales. So and CBD was a big part of that in January, and then we got shut down by PayPal, then by Square, then by Stripe.
Yes.
Then
I've heard
by
that PayPal is shutting people down. Like I just put on the Heavy Metal Summit, and we had to pay Dr. Chris Shade a big commission, and his PayPal got shut down because they don't service people who sell CBD oil. Like his PayPal had just gotten shut down, and he makes a CBD oil himself, and
Yes.
So it's just crazy how these companies are for what? Why is PayPal doing that? Why would PayPal not allow?
They're scared of the feds. They want to be in bed. They're in bed. They're in consort. They have to abide by their interpretation. Being as a do-gooder environmentalist, having done business, they've given us money. We've taken working capital loans from them. So to be permanently banned, like I'm selling smack or guns, despite it's just a little bit excessive, and hopefully he will. I don't know. I don't know what will happen, because I do know, Wendy, that there are people. I have a vendor friend who sells suppositories with no issue on PayPal. So how is that? But when you get all these shutdowns, that's for people to understand, you don't have a merchant processor. You cannot make money. It is like taking you and cuffing you and basically shooting you.
So tell us about some of the issues that you're having in selling CBD oil and why the pharmaceutical industry is edging in on the cannabinoid and medical marijuana markets.
So CBD is scheduled to be a $20 billion market in 2020. I'm writing an article about it, and so it's quite lucrative. And from BigPharma's point of view, they're seeing it as cutting into the competition. We're cutting into the competition. So they're developing a single molecule fake CBD, just like I think you had said you discussed the fake marijuana plant, fake marijuana drobanol, which has now been awarded Schedule 2 status and FDA approval. And so if you think of it in terms of, oh, the fake marijuana is legal, but the real plant from God is illegal.
It's so stupid. It's just so many loopholes. It just does. It never ceases to
Exactly.
amaze me the criminality of what the pharmaceutical company gets away with. And it's one of the reasons I do what I do is to call them out on their crimes and how they are harming people and making people sick and murdering people, killing people, and trying to make money for profit. And the medical marijuana market is no different. People are being helped tremendously. I'm being helped with CBD oil, and other people are helped with medical marijuana. I know so many people that need it for so many different reasons, and it's life-saving to them when like traditional medications don't work, and yet the pharmaceutical industry is lobbying. They pay money to try to make it illegal in states or prevent the legalization of it so that they then could sell their synthetic medical marijuana to the public.
Yep.
So tell us a little about that.
Yeah, and it's exactly the same thing that they're developing a fake CBD. So the main company is called GW Pharmaceuticals that is bringing Epidiolex to market, which is for epilepsy. And just to state that GW Pharmaceuticals is associated with Bayer Crop Science. Again, just a fact. I've made a little movie called Vanishing of the Bees that outlines the systemic pesticides that are killing the honeybees. So not to sound arrogant, self-important, conspiratorial, but just to lay the facts. Why is it that honey colony has gone through such hell and a crappy CBD isolate? So if it is a CBD isolate, it's likely from China or India. It's just put in MCT oil, and there's a lot of brands on Amazon that you can buy. Now, given I've said that it's a bioaccumulator, you do not want to be taking a crappy product. And you also have to consider people take CBD and they don't feel the effects. One, because they're not marrying it with a proper diet. And I tell people, if you're taking CBD but chowing down on fried chicken and inflammatory foods, it's not going to work. You're not going to reach its potential. Yeah. And how much people resist to the easiest thing that they can do, which is diet and regime and doing that first. So that's one thing. Second of all, to keep in mind that CBD degrades 80 to 90% in the liver. So unless you're taking it liposomally, which is our formula, or rectally, then it's not getting to you. So when you see kombucha with CBD, that's just marketing BS. That's just flash. It's not really substantial. And so I think that literally people, Wendy, are calling me from Norway, Greece, Canada, UK, Australia for Superior. Why? They're doing their homework and they're like, oh, check, I have, how is it extracted? Is it bioavailable? Is it organic? And look, all these beautiful Chinese herbs. So this is artisanal, it's scientific, and you have to do your homework and get a good formula out there.
And that's what you're referring to. Your product is called Superior Hemp Oil, and that's the product that, so tell us about some of the ingredients again. You said that it's got the liposomal CBD oil, but it also has
delivery
herbs.
System. Yes, it has Chinese herbs that are geared towards like white peony, schizandra, propolis, herbs, teasel root, that's good for biofilm. It's specifically designed, Elizabeth Moriarty, who is a scientist, a master herbalist, took into consideration what I wanted to address, which was, let's say, sleep, autoimmune, having reversed my autoimmune, biofilm, and her being in Wisconsin, having experience with Lyme, made a formula that is good to help destroy the biofilm, bolster the immune system, and of course synergize the impact of CBD. So CBD works with our body. We have an endocannabinoid system, ECS system, that was discovered, I believe, in the 90s. And it regulates homeostasis, balance, metabolism. So what I like to say to people is that they're taking a formula, the CBD is interfacing with their own body. And how beautiful is that a plant is communicating with us and regulating kind of like an adaptogen to give us what we need. And that's why it works across the board. And that's why Big Pharma doesn't want you to have it unless it's coming
No.
from them. So let's say Dronabinol, which is the fake marijuana, that can cost you, I think, or the fake CBD, like $1,000 to $2,000 a month with a prescription, as opposed to, let's say, $100 a bottle for the month, depending on what you're contending with, coupled with a proper diet or lifestyle or eating habits.
Yeah, that's a huge difference. And then it's just comical to me that insurance companies pay for this out of their own pocket. I mean, they're just so in bed together with the Big Pharma. So tell us again, what is the ECS, the endocannabinoid system, just to help people understand why they want to be activating this system in their body, and like how many, I know we have like so many cannabinoid receptors in our body.
Yes.
They're there for a reason.
Yes, we have CB1 and CB2 receptors throughout the body. And like I said, it regulates homeostasis and balance, and that has a effect on our metabolism, on creating balance in the body in a topsy-turvy world where we are contending with so many toxins, as you know, in the air, water, food supply, everywhere. And so with that said, having, for instance, a customer who called from Australia late at night on my home phone for his, and this is the gondolium poisoning of a woman who was bedridden in diapers. And just quickly to say, she went in for a hip issue, an MRI, and she specifically said, I do not want the contrasting agent. And when she went into the MRI, they were like, we're going to sedate you. I don't need to be sedated. I don't have claustrophobia. They sedate her nonetheless. Only accidentally 7 months later, when she goes in with all these issues, they try to convince her she has shingles. Long story short, he's reaching out to get superior. But I have to explain to him, with all due respect, yes, I'm not a saleswoman. My product will help with your pain, but you got to get that out of her. You have to detox. And so I'm just saying that given your work, and I'm so aligned with that, it's many times the missing piece. And just all this to say, you're taking CBD, it's not going to be the only thing in your arsenal. It's going to work. Just like in passing, really casually, a customer is like, what else? How can I take superior for post-stroke? So again, from the functional medicine perspective, you can get cancer because of a virus. You can get a cancer because you were exposed to EMFs, because you ate for crappy, a host of all those things. We have to treat you as an individual so you can maximize the CBD oil. That's my perspective.
Yeah, and let's talk about some of the health issues that people can benefit from by taking CBD oil. Because my uncle right now has lung cancer. He's stage 4, and he elected to do chemo. And I want to send him some CBD oil because I know it's really, really helpful for people with cancer.
Crohn's, everybody.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I take it because I started taking it for sleep. But I know it's helping me in so many other ways. I mean, I know that it's just helping reduce inflammation, and it's helped, like you said, with homeostasis. It's just helping your body function better on so many levels.
Neuroprotectant, antioxidant, anti-inflammatory. So also to put this in context, that on one hand, the government has classified CBD from marijuana extract as a Schedule 1. But on the other hand, they've also patented CBD. So right there you have it, folks. Yeah. I am infuriated at how I want to have abundance, doing good, and the hell that I have gone on. So we've lost, I know I'm veering off a little bit, we lost about 200,000 from all the shutdowns. Then, people take advantage of you. So you find the high-risk merchant processor. And then, in December we had one, and I'd love to say their name, but I won't, and sent FDA compliance updates. Mm-hmm. So you need to go into your testimonials and scrub the words cancer, fibromyalgia, anything. Yeah. So we know in the health and wellness space that we cannot make claims, but we look to these testimonials to go in as a journalist who believes in the First Amendment and scrub people's words is really rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah.
Then we had links to NIH, links to PubMed, asking for us to remove the links, which are serving as empowering to the customers. And so when I spoke up, I raised my voice.
You have to remove clinical studies showing the effectiveness of CBD oil.
They said word for word, FDA considers other research bias. What a crock of crap, right? The FDA, who's frolicking in bed with Big Pharma, gets to tell me, dictate what is deemed bias.
Yeah.
And, so when I told the guy, these are government or what? That evening, Maryam tried to do a transaction, and I was locked out of my portal. They have been holding on to more like $10,000 of our money with no word of when they will release. So think of all these things in the system that impede you when you're just trying to help people, and how outrageous. And if I can't share that with people, because if you are speaking out like you are, saying things against Big Pharma, you can be dubbed a conspiracy theorist, you could be banned. So, for instance, Wendy, I was like, okay, I've lost all this money, because what happened was I had customers, a testament of this formula, waiting from July, got their medicine in December. That's crazy to let someone. This is not someone waiting for a lipstick from MAC. This is a sick person. Mm-hmm. So it's outrageous. But back to your question, that I've had, like I said, I've had people in massive pain, people who are on opiates, who want to get off, who are getting off, and when they run out of the bottle, they have to up their pain meds. We're living in opiate crises. People who have cancer, like bladder cancer, insomnia for sure. I also use CBD for sleep.
I know you need it now. All the anxiety of dealing with that.
Cortisol levels, waking up many times in the night. And so in smaller doses, CBD is energizing, and then in larger doses it's sedative. And so I was microdosing years ago Xanax to sleep. I was hit by a car when I was 29 and dragged 50 feet. An SUV was outfitted with a 14-inch metal rod, and a year later with the PSD and adrenal fatigue, my body blew up. And every issue that happened, I used it to go down the rabbit hole and learn about that condition. But sleep is so vital. So I was microdosing. The average dose is 5 milligrams. I was doing 0.25, and I had so much guilt. I was testing one product, and I megadosed on it. There was like 3 capsules. I think I took 8. And I fell asleep. And so I've been taking CBD for the past 2 years and have not taken any pharmaceuticals. And it was a lot to say. What I stand for was microdosing Xanax. But I've written a story and helped others. I was just speaking to someone last week who takes sleeping meds and was looking to turn to CBD. Again, all very threatening to Big Pharma.
Yeah. Let's talk a little about that again. So Big Pharma has applied for patents as for cannabinoid substances. I don't know the exact thing that they're patenting. And in doing that, they're trying to then say that people that are producing CBD oil are infringing upon their patent and then shutting them down. So
they're not saying that they're infringing on their patent. They're saying that you are dealing with a Schedule 1 drug up there with LSD and heroin. Schedule 1 says no medicinal value. BS, dangerous. BS. Yeah. That's what they are stating. And now, so with the fake CBD and with the fake marijuana coming to market, you now have the fake news where you have health reporters who are just, there was an article in BuzzFeed that was stating that the only proven benefit of CBD is toward epilepsy, only because GW is coming out with their Epidiolex. That is, again, BS. That is, again, sloppy journalism, just fluffiness without thinking. Why? There was one cop that they quoted in this BuzzFeed he was an officer, stating that marijuana, CBD, recreational CBD is illegal. Yeah, let's go, Andy. Let's go score some CBD for the Natural Foods Expo. What this weekend? Who is using CBD? These are sick people, folks.
Well, it's not psychoactive. It doesn't get you high. So yeah.
Exactly. It's a crazy statement perpetuating just fallacy.
It's ignorance. It's complete ignorance. Yeah. And so marijuana is legal for medical use, and I think it's about 15 states now. I think it's actually more. Do you know offhand?
Oh,
I just saw it on Bill Maher, that he did a whole show on it, and I think it was a large number of states. I was really, really surprised how many.
When did he do a show?
He did a show on medical marijuana. There's a little blurb about it.
Oh, okay.
And not the whole show, but just there was a segment. And he talked about how many states it's legal for medical marijuana. And there's also a number of states, a handful, where recreational marijuana is available as well. But there's a number of states, 10 or 15 states, where it's completely illegal. So how does that work? So someone's in a state in the United States where marijuana, including CBD oil,
they can't
illegal.
Cross it, and that is not my area of expertise, as the product that I offer has 0.3 THC or less, and so it can travel across state lines.
Oh, it can. Okay.
Yeah, and our hemp is from Germany, and organic. Europe is well known for growing hemp, and so we deal with hemp from Germany. And I don't know the I know in California it's legal. I know I have my medical marijuana card, that I didn't want to be making deals in the dark. Like my mom has said in the past, Mary, are you still smoking that green stuff? And it's like, I don't drink at all.
Not exactly.
No, and I'm like, yes, mommy, I am still smoking the green stuff, and I'm not going to be ashamed anymore, because it helped me a lot when I was reversing my fibromyalgia and with pain. And it's a plant. And when we embrace alcohol in this society, it's so embedded that you see, like, what's the movie Flatliners, the new recreation with Ellen Page, and the med students are like going to get sloshed. And this is alcohol, inflammatory, low level vibration, sugar. Let's just be honest.
Yeah, it's terrible for you. Yeah. I mean, medical marijuana, or marijuana in general, is so much less harmful and so much better for you than alcohol. It's just comical to me that it's even illegal.
Yeah. Yes, and there was a film I cite, a film with Drew Barrymore and Toni Collette. They're besties, and Toni has cancer, and you really see in a new way getting chemo, which is a poison, and cut to her character, swinging back some drinks at the bar. Like Cancer 101, you don't want to be doing that.
Yeah.
But again, the hypocrisy, and more so, there are 100 million Americans today that suffer from pain, costing $560 to $635 billion that BigPharma wants to capture. And rather than, hoping to get people on their treadmill, and how many clients, patients do we see that come with compounded issues because you have to undo everything that Western medicine has added on to their plate.
Yeah, and destroyed their livers.
Yep.
Yeah,
yes.
And so what do you recommend to anyone that's thinking about trying CBD oil? Kind of what kind of dosing do they typically start with, or can you give any information like that?
Sure. I would say that to begin with, to do your research on what things to look for. So on Honey Colony, you could just very easily search CBD and get empowered with some really concrete articles to look at. I would say to look into the extraction methods, to how the delivery system is. Let's just talk about the extraction methods that many use, hexane or butane. So there's these toxic residues. Again, not something that you want to put into your body. Look at where it's sourced. Really get a sense. There are many companies that are using the MLM process to work their way around the legalities. So yeah, I am not into MLMs. I wrote a cover story on Amway and I've studied this. Let's not get into it, but it's not my bag.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. We talked earlier, I was talking about how I noticed that there were some CBD oils being sold as MLM products. And I bet you're saying how does that help them get around the legality of selling CBD oil?
Well, honestly, I don't know how they're exchanging money. I don't. I just see that there are a lot of MLMs aside. It's a technicality, another loophole, because I'm not in it. I don't really know what that is. I know it's just kind of circumventing the system, just like going in and having to scrub the word CBD from the site and referring to it as hemp oil.
Yeah, and that's one thing I also wanted to ask you. So I was wondering why I see some products that say hemp oil and wondering what is that? And how does that differ from CBD oil? Can you explain that?
There should be no difference. It's just semantics. It's just language. It's just getting around the system. So at one point, because let's say, for instance, how sad that I cannot link Honey Colony to Simply Transformative. I was shut down so many times that I was like, are we on a blacklist? Mm-hmm. I think we're on a blacklist. And then you're thinking, why would I be on a blacklist? Yes, we were on a merchant blacklist. So we're not even able to link Honey Colony to
and that's your website, honeycolony.com.
Honeycolony.com is we sell things there, but I had to create simplytransformative.com to just be for CBD and to adhere to those these regulations. And what you also find out is that the merchant processor who was asking me, for instance, to unlink, they can determine their own regulations and boundaries that are sometimes more strict than the FDA to protect their booties.
Yeah. And
because they typically only care about ka-ching, making money. They don't care that you're associated with a company that actually values integrity and is helping people. No. So there's all these kind of workarounds to have to circumvent these different interpretations and to have a livelihood if you are offering a good, excellent product. Because again, like I said, you can find crap on Amazon with no issue, and I'm not exactly sure how they get around it.
So don't buy your CBD or hemp oil on Amazon. So yeah, so let's talk about that also. Some of the toxins that can be in medical marijuana or in CBD oil. You talked about hexane. So for number one, organic versus non-organic.
Yes.
You're going to have no pesticides versus pesticides to, kill the bugs or, whatever that's the pests. And then you have how the CBD oil is extracted. So you can have hexane and other types of solvents that are used to chemically extract that versus carbon dioxide, which is a natural process that doesn't leave any toxic residues in the product. So you have to be a very, very savvy consumer and know about toxins to be able to purchase a product that isn't adding, harmful toxins to your body while you're trying to get well.
Absolutely. Luckily, there are more and more people who are taking health into their own hands and doing their homework. They may not know, right? They may just be jumping on the bandwagon, the trend, and not even realize what it is that they're taking. God knows what is in soil these days. We've decimated our soil, which I say is the biome of the planet, just like our guts are so important. And that things stay in the earth, and if who knows what it's pulling up. But to me, being told that they use cannabis to clean the soil and for Chernobyl and remove radiation, say no more, okay? That it's going to pull up stuff, and you're going to be digesting it if you take that. You had asked about the potency. In our case, it's 250 milligrams per bottle, and that's, if you do one dropper, that's 8.3 milligrams per suggested dose. And if you're optimizing and you're avoiding the hepatic first grade degradation, like a lot of things degrade, then it's equivalent to 2,500 milligrams of oral non-liposomal gastric delivery. Okay. And then, of course, just to talk about the herbs that we use, because I didn't mention them all, we use, I said why is my site glitching? Don Shen, are you familiar with Don Shen? Teasel root, Chisandra. Mm-hmm. Again, herbs, it's beautiful to have the synergy. Anyway, so those are some of the things that, definitely the toxins. You want to, I'm always blown away if you go to a dispensary, why they're not all organic, that you as a sick person, non-sick person, have to say, do you have something that's organic? And then also to touch upon that when it comes to hemp in this country, if you're buying it here, there are no, Trump administration is allowing, there's no regulations on what to spray or not to spray yet. Yeah. So you have to digest, take organic.
Yes.
It's very important.
And so let's talk about potency. And so some products on the market, they can put CBD oil or hemp oil on the label and have almost nothing, in the product. So what is the level of potency or the amount of, you said 250 milligrams in your product? What is some like the average amount?
I honestly, I don't know. I know we have a comparative matrix that I look at other brands on the site, but I'm just looking at them.
I imagine there's a lot of products out there that have very little CBD oil in them.
Well, also think of if it's a CBD isolate or if it's a full spectrum where it's the whole plant, the synergistic chemistry of the whole plant. So in other words, whole plant or mixtures of plants are more effective than isolated compounds. It's about treating you as a whole. And
yeah, so if you were to look on the label, how would you identify a product was a CBD isolate versus whole plant?
It should say CBD versus full spectrum. I think you would need to ask the manufacturer, because I don't know what other brands do to make it seem better than it is. Mm-hmm. On the site, we have some comparisons on other sites that they can see. I just had this question from CBD Hemp Works and from Colorado. So, I could just say, please do your homework. This is an isolate. This is with MCT oil, so the delivery is not optimized. This is an MLM. I don't know if what their motives are or how dedicated. Like I could say, for instance, Prime Your Body is an excellent formula. It is liposomal. It is done properly. I've heard that ours is better, but I'm not going to diss it. It's a comparable high-end. Some of the person knows what they're doing that's making it. So it's of course also how you talked about dosage. I recommend that someone tries a full dropper and away from food. And keep in mind that you're an individual, and if it's an adaptogen, it's gonna do what it needs to do, but you have to couple that with an anti-inflammatory diet. For me, that's very, very important. You walk around and you see people who are just, inflamed. It's just become a regular kind of look for a better thing. And if you have, I'm from Montreal, Canada, I'm 45, people will say, well, I'm getting achy. And their mentality, it's also about deleting these self-limiting beliefs of, the body is so amazing. And of course, when you're told your body's attacking itself, there's no cure, here's some Cymbalta, here's some prednisone, go home, that is just as destructive. And I reiterate how our subconscious beliefs have so much to do and run 95% of our existence. So healing, as you know, is so multi-level, and there's so many levels and nuances, and it is about the journey. And I know I'm veering a little, but it's also important to ask, like, what can I learn from this illness? What can I learn from this disease about myself? And really take a good look at yourself and put your ego aside and be humbled. You know, almost dying, being sprayed by pesticides on 3 occasions, being told you have fibromyalgia and lupus, and working to a lot of years. And definitely CBD was part of turning that around. But just all that again to say, what else are you doing to couple with the CBD in order on your healing journey? You know, like yourself, you do so many other beautiful things. It works in concert. If someone's just like, you know, I can tell some of these customers that they're eating crap and they're expecting, like, what can you give me to deal with this? It's not about this pharmaceutical one. It's not about that. You're not going to take a product and just get better overnight. There's no magic. Although CBD is pretty miraculous. Definitely.
Yeah, well, I'm so glad you came on the show. I love CBD oil. I love your product, Superior Hemp Oil. I mean, I think it's fantastic. And I really highly recommend that people try it, to give it a try and see what it can do for you and your symptoms. And I think CBD oil is just something that is just such an amazing medicine, and that I think people that might be closed-minded to it need to at least try it, open their mind to it, because I think they'll be very, very pleasantly surprised. It's
Absolutely.
definitely changed my life, and it's something that I highly recommend to people.
Yes, I don't know why they would be skeptic. There are no psychoactive properties. It is, I mean, so many beautiful remedies come from the earth. I've become all about bees and bud, Wendy.
Oh, I think people are just, you know, they're conditioned. There's a lot of conservative people out there. There's ignorance. They've been told it's a drug, you know, for their whole life. It's a bad drug to be fought, and the war on drugs. And so I think there's a lot of people out there, and that's why we're doing this podcast, to educate people and, you know, put that ignorance at bay and let people know this is a healing compound, just like other plants have healing compounds. There's just no stigma to it whatsoever. It doesn't get you high. It just heals you.
Yeah, and about the stigma, I was just going to talk about that in writing this story. As a Canadian, I didn't know that. And then in the 70s, the Nixon administration used marijuana to be able to go after Vietnam, people who were against the Vietnam War and against the African Americans, and this whole reefer madness and stigma and BS and ignorance comes from the 70s, and it is absolutely incorrect. And why is it that the pharmaceuticals can create their single molecule fake faux brand, and that has medicinal value? Just I'm not saying this in an un-PC way, but the retardation of this, retarded as the real literal, this is not solid thinking. This is so weak. And it's quite crazy that, you know, and now there's like Senator Kathleen Gillibrand, who is so vocal, and other Democrats who are speaking out of the BS that's going on to really tip the scales. And it will reach a tipping point where it's undeniable. And again, no psychoactive properties. Hello.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful plant compound that communicates with your own body. That's it. That's and it helps a whole host of issues. There's nothing to be afraid.
Yeah. Yeah. So everyone, thank you so much for listening today.
Thank you.
Maryam, tell us where we can find you and where we can try your CBD, your Superior Hemp Oil.
You can find me in Beechwood. You can also find me on Twitter. Please visit honeycolony.com. And I don't know if you'll be providing a link to Superior, but we have it in stock after going through so much hurdles and couldn't keep it on the shelves. And that's at simplytransformative.com. And to bypass the system, we are taking Bitcoins, and we are taking electronic checks and old school checks.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Hey, I have some
Yeah.
Bitcoin. I could buy some with some of my Bitcoin, my cryptocurrency.
Is it going? It's going up. I have to check it today. I've
Yeah,
been
yes, it
checking the app.
is.
I do have a couple of transactions that have been purchased
That's awesome.
in Bitcoin.
Yes. Well, Maryam, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, Wendy.
Yeah, I love your
Thank you.
product. I love what you're doing. I love what you stand for. And everyone go check out her movie, Vanishing of the Bees. It's
Yes.
Vanishing of the Bees. What's the website for that?
Well, it's vanishingbees.com, and it's on iTunes, Amazon, Netflix, and Hulu. And yes, it's still relevant. Bees are still dying, and they are so crucial to our food supply. And my message a decade later is that we are the bees slowly being poisoned.
Yes. Yeah,
And we can learn so much from these beautiful, sacred creatures. Yeah, and you can hit me up at Maryam, Maryam, at honeycolony.com. And yeah, thank you, Wendy.
Yeah, well, thank you for coming on the show. And everyone, thanks so much for
you.
listening. I'm Wendy Myers of myersdetox.com. Take a couple minutes to leave us a review on iTunes, the Live to 110 podcast. It would be so much appreciated to help us reach more people and help more and more people, which is the goal and why I wake up every day, to help people feel better and get their life back with detoxification of heavy metals. Thank you so much for listening and have a wonderful day.